Hello and welcome. This video is a photo correction lesson. We will begin by taking the boat on the water, this image here, the start file, and we are going to follow the steps on this instruction sheet, and we are going to get ourselves to this final step. The clouds will be a support file which we'll use, and we will take from the clouds here, and we will eventually place them in that sky area. So the first thing we want to do is do File, Save As. And we're going to give the file a name. We're going to put our period. You're going to put your first name. You're going to put your last name. And you're going to put, this is boat, water. Yeah, I know, real creative. Now, you're going to make sure you put that in your appropriate folder. For me, I'm just going to drop it in my broad folder Dropbox, but you need to put it in the folder with your name on it. And I will hit OK, and it says replace, and I will in fact replace because I know what I had there. So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this document, and the first thing I want to do is change the resolution. By the way, I'm following the instructions from here. Step first, save the file. Next, change the resolution. DPI should be 150. To do that, you go over where it says image, image size, and you change that resolution number right there to 150, and then you hit OK. The picture literally got bigger because you just made it more than double the size. I'm going to hit Command 0 to fit it into the screen again, but it is now a bigger file. The next thing we're going to do, if you look at the instructions, we're going to crop the image. To do that, I grabbed a crop tool. Now I'm going to show you a nightmare. If I grab the crop tool and then, if I grab the crop tool and I start trying to spin this thing or rotate it from the corners like this, I'm going to feel all weird, and I'm going to have a lot of trouble, and I'm going to have this kind of nonsense. So don't do that. Trust me, hit don't crop and do this. Hit the crop tool, make a little box. Now that little box is easy to maneuver. So now I can shift and rotate. On the outside, I rotate. You see the handlebar mouse? Cursor right there. I'm going to bring it toward a corner. If I can get one corner square, the odds are very good I'm going to be able to have the whole thing square. Okay, so here I am. I'm a little bit off, but very easy to correct now. So not that way, this way. Decide where I want to place it. Once I'm happy with my choice, I double click, and now I've cropped the picture. The next step after cropping the picture is we're going to adjust the overall contrast. So I click off the crop tool because I don't want to have accidents. I'm on the move tool. I go over and I say image adjust. And I'm got brightness contrast. We're going to adjust the overall brightness and contrast. This picture is actually kind of washed out in gray. So we want to increase the contrast. But it's very bright and the background is almost bleached out. So I'm going to bring down the brightness, because if I make this too light, I'm going to have trouble selecting the sky later. So I definitely want to separate that. And I'm going to hit OK. Once I've done that, I want to change the overall contrast. This picture is very warm. Proof being that if I were to sample the water is a red hue. It's like this muddy gray color. It's not what we want. We want it to be blue because water should be blue. So here's what we're going to do, especially water in natural light. So we're going to go Image, Adjustments, and we're going to go to Color Balance. And here we're going to add a little bit of blue to this and a little bit of cyan. Just like that. That's before and that's after. We've definitely cooled it down. If I were to sample the water again, notice we're in a different range. It's more in a blue range here. See that? Where before we were in the land of red. So we know where we are. Once we do the color cast, the next thing we want to do is adjust colors in individual areas. So we're going to take this area here that's orange, and we're going to mimic this color here. We're going to match that color. We're going to take, and I'm going to use the Quick Select tool, which is here on your mouse. Hit Quick Select, see it, Quick Select. And I'm going to zoom in on my picture, so I'm going to hit Command plus, so I can do this well. If you don't zoom in, you do that at your own peril. It's much easier to work when you're zoomed in. Now this brush is big. See the size? It's right now I have a 13. I can tell you the truth, I'd make this a 5. And this is the only tool you can't right click for brush size. So you got to do it up here. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to go around the object. Notice it grabbed a lot more than I wanted. Now I hit the Option key and I'm going to subtract that. And I'm going to bring this in. And this is purple, this orange haze around. I got to include that, otherwise I'm going to have an orange ghost around the object. So I'm going to take and I'm going to include, that's too much. Hit Option and get rid of that again. Now here I want, again, there's a little orange ghost on this side. Hit Option, minimize that. It tends to understand more the second time, so it's okay. It actually learns along the way. And here I'm hitting Option so I can subtract it closer to this. Bring this down because there are some reds in there. Now I add this little corner. Nope, subtract this purple, but I got the orange I wanted, which is here and here, right there. So now I've got my selection. I want to change the color. We're going to go over to Image and Adjustments. We're going to go over to Hue and Saturation. We can simply type Command U. And we want to match this color, make it look like this. So I'm going to adjust the hue. Look what happens if I go to the right. I get all these crazy colors, right? But I'm looking for that blue-green. So I'm going to look through the spectrum until I find it. That's green. I need to go to the blue-green, something like that. But that color is way too light, so we're going to darken it like this. And probably a little too bright, take down a little bit. Look before and after, orange to green. I'm going to hide my selection, and it's pretty good. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit Command D, deselect, and now we go forward. I hit Command 0, we see the whole image. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to eliminate the boat that's in the water. To do that, we're going to be using the Clone Stamp tool. The Clone Stamp tool is actually easy to use, but hard to get used to in the beginning. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to show you what happens. If I wanted to copy this building here and put it over here, or maybe put it over here, down here. If I wanted to do that, I would use the clone stamp because it lets me clone things. So I go, clone building, and then I click, and it says, could not use the clone stamp because the area to clone hasn't been defined. What does that mean? That means you didn't tell it what to copy. To tell it what to copy, it tells us in parentheses, it says Option click. And then that will define the source point. Option click to define source point. So I go over to the top of the steeple here. I hit Option and I click my mouse. So that's Option click. Option click my mouse. I just told the computer that I want to copy that steeple. So if I go here, notice the steeple follows me inside my cursor, inside the brush shape. So if I were to start doing this, notice on the right side, you see the crosshairs, the little plus, and you see everything I'm copying, right? So that's what's going on there. Okay, I don't really want to do that. That was the example. Now, so I just hit Command Z. Now what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of this boat. To get rid of this boat, I'm going to hit Option, and I'm going to sample the water right here. I don't want to sample water here because it's too close and they're bigger waves. I have to go around the same distance. So about here, I hit Option and I click. That means I'm going to copy from here. I come here, you see the water's already on my brush, and you can see me, you see the little plus, and now you see this going. Here's where you should stop. If you keep going, you're going to wind up doing that. Don't do that. So limited to that, I'm going to do the whole thing again. I'm going to Option click here. I'm going to go on this side, and I'm going to go. Now, what will happen if you do it wrong? What if I click in the middle like this, and then I start doing this, and I go, see what happens? So please, focus on what you're doing. Option click in an appropriate spot, and then blend it out. Option click, and then take it and, what did I do wrong? Command D. Option, click. I think I'm doing something weird. There we go. I must have something selected. I deselected. There I am. It's all set. So now we've taken care of the boat. That's how that works. The next thing we're going to do is make a selection of this tarp area. You're going to use the Quick Select tool. Don't have it big. Mine is set to a number 5. Start selecting, and you got to do this fast. If you're doing it slow, you didn't read the name of the tool. It's Quick Select. So you're going to come through here, get the whole tarp, and I know I'm taking more than I want, but that's okay. The beauty of this tool is it understands once I make a broad selection, I will be refining it. So here I'm going to hit the Option key. I grab the ocean. I don't need that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get close to the boat. Here, let's get rid of this little black section. Let me add the little tarp part that I want. Let me get rid of this green ghost, so I hit Option. I don't want that's going to be affected there. I just want to brighten stuff, and I'll add this back. Over here, let's hit Option, get rid of the black part of the boat that I don't need. And now I've got the tarp. What I'm going to do is I'll go over to Image, Adjustments. I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation, and I want to brighten that. So which one would we use? Clue. Hue is the family of color. Lightness is whether they're light or dark. Saturation is whether it's dull, like no color, or bright. We don't want it that bright, but we want to add a little bit. So here, before, after, hit OK, and then deselect. So now you've brightened that up. The next thing that we want to do on the list after we've done brightening of the boat, of the tarp on the boat, next thing we want to do is make a selection of the sky. So here I am looking at the sky. I grabbed the quick select. I'm going to make a selection of the sky. Notice it's not perfect. I lost some of those buildings, but I'm going to correct that. Now I'm going to grab this section. So these two are selected. I'll come here. I'll go this way. Notice I lost half my building. I'll be fixing that in a minute. So now I've got the sky broadly selected. To put things back, this has to come back. I'm going to hit the Option key. Little minus appears. I go through it. If you have a small brush like I have, you'll be able to adjust things. And then here, bring that up. And mind you, I took more. Now I'm going to let go of the Option key and correct it. And basically, it'll clean up based on the instructions you give it with your mouse. So here, if I want to delete, I can delete this way. And that's hitting the Option key. And if I go too far, I can just hit plus and bring it back in. Over here, have this little spot here. Option subtract. I want to keep that. And this I'll bring in. Okay, so now I've got all this selected. That's great. I'm going to save that selection. Go to Select, Save Selection. We're going to name this Sky. And we're going to hit OK. Once we put that in place, that saving, I'm going to make it Command 0 so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to bring over the clouds, and I'm going to make the clouds a little bigger. Command plus, plus. I'm going to use the Clone Stamp tool right here, this tool right here, Clone Stamp tool, and I'm going to make it work. Remember, we have to hit the Option key. You have to see the crosshairs. So I'm going to place it in the upper right corner. Hit the Option key, and I'm going to click from the upper right corner. I'm going to come back to my picture, go to the upper right corner, and put the image in the corner. Now, right here, I have a small brush. I'm going to change my brush size so I can do this fast, because I don't need to do it slow. So once I do this, I have the picture in place. If your clouds are big, you made a boo-boo, you didn't change your file size early on. But if they're this size, then you're totally on point. Once you've done that, we can close the clouds. We don't need them anymore. And now I'm going to take this. We had saved the selection. We're also going to take the selection, and now we're going to flip it. We're going to inverse like that. That means we no longer have the sky in our possession. We actually grab the bottom. We really want to be able to burn the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this, and I'm going to get rid of everything that's not the building. So I'm going to use first the rectangle marquee tool. And by the way, you can find your own ways to do this, but I'm going to get rid of the big swash here. And now I want to get rid, I'm going to use quick select. I want to get rid of option. I want to get rid of the trees because I don't want them in my selection. I want only the buildings. That's my goal. So here I'm getting rid of these things. Get rid of that. Come here. Notice I stay in the tree. If you touch a building, you're going to go in that space. You don't want to do that. So that's looking good. I have buildings. I got rid of that. By the way, I lost some of my stuff here, so I'm just going to run through it and get the rest of that skyline. So now I have the lower part of my buildings. And I want to option, get rid of this black part of the boat. Gone. And if I want to make sure I get it all, but bring this up too. And let's see, get rid of this tree option, minus. And if you stay on the tree, you're going to select the tree. If you wind up moving into the buildings, you're going to lose the building. So now I only have the building selected. And let me add this little piece here and this little piece. Now, if you want to save this, I have to subtract those clouds. They don't belong. And this doesn't belong, but this does. Add that back. Good. Minus, subtract. You notice it takes a little tweaking. That's okay. That's how you get good. So now we're going to save that selection. I'm going to call that buildings. Buildings. And I'm going to hit OK. I want to take that, and I'm going to grab the burn tool, ladies and gentlemen. I just saw a part of it I missed. Let's add this here and subtract this out. I want to be able to burn all of it. Now, I missed this piece up here. Oh, man, I'm being a flake. So here, let's add the building. Building, 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 building. And add the top here to there. Nope. Subtract the cloud. And it's really not that hard if you go, so don't get too spazzed over it. Okay, I'm back to just the buildings. I'm going to resave that. Save selection. I'm just going to go back to the name buildings. It'll save it. That'll be the new one. Now I'm going to take the burn tool, and I'm going to make a big burn tool, and I want to click it and pass over this area. I want to get all of it in one click. Do the whole thing so that darkens it. Then we'll do it again a second time. So I do 2 passes. That's how I get it nice and rich, and then I'm going to deselect. Once I've done that, what I want to do is I may want to now I want to soften some of these edges. I can take a blur tool here. No, blur tools here, and I can go along the edges here and just kind of soften these edges so it doesn't look like a crispy edge. And you'll soften them up, go through with a little blur tool. It's pretty easy. It helps it blend and get natural look into the picture. Once I do that, I'm going to go over to filter, and I'm going to go over to where it says filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. And I'll get this box, and look, this is already sharpening. That's before and after. But if I increase it, you can see what happens. That's probably too sharp. Let's see. This is before and after. This is probably a little too crispy. Let me bring this back. Let's see. Before and after. Hit OK. Once you've done that, you can hit File, Save. You have completed the assignment. Make sure it's in your folder. Have a great day.